All right, guys, we are going to do page 350. Well, it starts on 355. It's problem 12.3, work together. The transactions are on page 360. So what we're doing here is we're going to decide if we want to take bonds out. What a bond is, it's similar to a notes payable. So it's a promise to pay back money, essentially a loan, but for a long period of time. Could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The problems with the bonds, though, is you have to pay the interest back at it. So again, with a corporation, they can raise capital a couple different ways. They can use their retained earnings, they can sell additional shares of stock, or they could borrow the funds with a notes payable or a bonds payable. So there are advantages and disadvantages with the bonds, but the good thing is you have it for a long period of time, and as you make money, you then can pay it back. But they have a lot of good information on page 355 about bonds when you have a second to read it. All right, what else do we need to know? A person that you borrow from, it's usually a bank, but it doesn't have to be, it could be a person, is going to be a trustee. They are the person in charge of administrating the bonds, and if there's any problems or whatnot, you go to the trustee. To pay back our bonds, what corporations will set up is they set up a bond sinking fund. And what that is, it's money that they set aside each year, so then when the bond is due, they have it and they're able to pay the bond back. But when it's in the sinking fund, it can gain interest. So it can make money. So say you have a bond that's 10 years, you put money aside each year, and then each year it gains interest. And then when it matures at the end of 10 years, you can pay back the bond. There are two types of bonds. They're called term bonds. Those are bonds that mature all on the same date, or there are serial bonds that mature on different dates. And the nice thing about serial bonds, if they mature at different dates, you're not paying interest on the whole time. So maybe one portion of it is at 5 years, next is at 7. And with a term bond, it's all at 10, so you have to pay more interest. All right. So let's take a look at page 360 and do these problems here. So it tells us on February 1st, Cyrotech Incorporated received a $300,000 cash for a bond issue. The bond agreement provides that the bond sinking fund is to be increased annually by $37,500 for the next 8 years. So what that means, that Cyrotech each year is going to put away $37,500 so that at the end of 8 years, they have the money to pay this off. The bond trustee, so the person in charge, has guaranteed Cyrotech an interest rate of 4% on its sinking fund. So when they put that $37,500 away, they're going to gain 4% interest on it. A cash receipts journal, cash payments journal, and a general journal are provided. So our first one is February 1st of our first year. So we are receiving cash for the face value of an 8-year, 10%, $500 par value bond issue. $300,000, receipt number 135. So we're receiving the money. So it's February 1st. So whoever we loan this to us is giving us $300,000. So it's going to be bonds payable, because we're going to have to pay it back. And it's receipt number 135. Yep, back 300,000 plus interest. But right now we get to use the money. So that is our first transaction. So now we are in year 2. So we paid cash to the bond trustee for annual interest on the bond issue, $30,000, check number 201. So we know it's $30,000 because it's a 10%, because they told us up in the problem that it was a 10% interest. So we're going down here to our cash payments. We're paying off our interest. February 1, interest expense, and just interest expense. They're both on February 1st. So I wrote check number 201. It was for $30,000 because it was a 10% interest. There we go. Next problem is also on February 1st. So we're just keeping the years on the same journal. But we're in year 2. Paid cash to our bond trustee for our first annual deposit to the bond sinking fund. check number 202. 202. So this is going to our bond sinking fund, which we determined that we were going to put in $37,500 each year into the sinking fund, so that when it matures, we'll have enough money to pay it off. And this money is also going to gain interest. All right, now we're down to year 3. We paid cash to the bond trustee for our annual interest on our bond issue, 30 grand, check number 313. Again, we're February 1. Interest expense, check number 313 for 30 grand. All right. Now, also on February 1st of the 3rd year, we paid cash to the bond trustee for our annual deposit to the bond sinking fund and recorded interest earned on our bond sinking fund, check number 314. 314. Our interest earned equals 4% of the bond sinking fund deposit made on February 1st, the 2nd year. So we know we're putting in $37,500 is how much we're supposed to put in our bond sinking fund. However, since we made interest over the past year, we don't have to put in that much money. So what we're going to do is you're going to take $37,500. Let me get a calculator up here. 500 multiplied by 0.04 because it's 4% return gives us $1,500. So we made $1,500 over the year. So we only have to pay then $36,000 this year. And this is going to be our interest income because it's money we made. We didn't have to pay that. All right. Last transaction on to the 9th year. So our bond has matured finally. On February 3rd, we received notice from a bond trustee that the bond issue was retired using our bond sinking fund, $300,000, memorandum number 87. So we got memo 87. We have bonds payable and bond sinking fund. So we're giving back the $300,000 that we owed them. So bonds payable really are essentially just like a long-term loan, similar if you would take out a mortgage for 15 to 30 years. But these are for corporations, and it doesn't always have to go through a bank. It could be individuals, it could be other corporations that want to take on debt, whatnot. So you guys are going to complete the On Your Own's applications in the Mastery for Chapter 12. And this is our last problem for the year. Any questions, message me in Moodle. Thanks. Bye.